no longer want to be considered desirable. Okay, stay with me. I've been thinking about just like the effort. This has been happening for a long time, and I've been just deconstructing and re examining what it is like to feel beautiful. As a person who got like a sprinkle of the pretty privilege, I am here now saying it's not worth it. I mean, it's nice. It's nice to be considered pretty and it's nice to be considered desirable, but in the long run, it's such a thin box that is always closing in on itself. And once you're in, it's hard to stay in and hard to to like cling on to being beautiful. Like I think about it as a commercial with the fish net and they're putting it out and with the dollar and you have to like try and catch the dollar. And that's so exhausting. I don't want to always be running towards the dollar. And so I'm learning that my definition of pretty, yes, it has crumbs from old from the definition of pretty that I grew up with, but trying to move away from that, trying to figure out what I find as attractive and what I find as beautiful, what I find as desirable, because I feel like a lot of what I've been told to find desirable, I do not. I do not actually find it desirable. And it's just because, and it's so hard because it's like a fight against your brain. You're like, again, you know, like I've fallen into this again. And gravitating towards, because you can't even say beauty is inclusive because of like it's very much exclusive, you know, like throughout history who has been seen as beautiful has been a very few people who look a certain way, but we're not going to talk about that today. What I want to focus on is like the personal, the what has beauty meant to me in throughout my life. And for me, I grew up in a place where I was not seen as desirable. And so I got a lot of insecurities because of that. And as I moved away from that place and began to be desired, I was confused. And suddenly there were all these rules that you had to follow. And I couldn't keep up. I didn't understand why, oh, you can't do this when you're pretty, you can't do this. And I was just so confused and I wanted out immediately because people also treat you really differently, either in a good way or the worst way possible when you are pretty, because a lot of people tended to grab, you know, like they grab at you like in awe or they try to touch you in awe. And I'm just like, that is number one, weird. Stop. I'm a person. And also the treatment you receive when you like say no to things, it's like, oh, of course, like you would say no. And like this just animosity that exists because there's been such a divide, there's been such a push to like exclude people for so long that being considered desirable, being seen as desirable is suddenly like a competition, like an unspoken competition. And I didn't understand that because I'm just like, I'm just here. I'm really, my thing is, I'm here being a guy and I just want to be a guy. And suddenly there's just like so much to follow. So, with being introduced into like the world of being seen as desirable, it it felt fake. It felt fake for people to like want, like people to approach me, people to be like, oh my God, you look so good, because I just came from such a place of insecurity. And over like the past 2 years, I've been like building upon my confidence. And that's when I realized I can't do the work of being pretty anymore. You're not gonna catch me. You're not gonna catch me. And I understand there's a lot of privilege that also like comes from that, and being able to not do the work of being pretty because like they are you could get jobs there, you could get like literally there's a whole industry there that is available to, or whole worlds that are available once you're considered desirable. And I completely understand, like, it's hard, but my proposal is analyze, like, are these things that you actually like doing in terms of like the work that goes into being pretty. Like, one of the things is like being hairless. Huh. A lot of people dislike that one because being hairless for so long has been seen as desirable. And so for a lot of people, like, their own hair is uncomfortable to them. And just moving away from that space where I'm like, okay, I'm an animal. Like, I have hair, I grow hair, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if I want to get rid of it, it's okay. If I don't, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, like, this is my body, and what I desire to do to it is my choice, and I should look at like what is influencing my choice, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to change your habits. I'm just saying, do you actually like doing these things? Because for a lot of people, they're like, I hate waxing. And I'm like, why do you do it? Or they're like, I hate insert another thing that is beauty work. And I'm like, why do you do it? And I'm met with like a blank stare of, how could you say that? Even just little things like the sun, like laying your edges, like just little things like that. Where does that come from? What and why is it better to have your hair like down a certain way or fixed a certain way? Like, why? Why? Even with wearing wigs, I had to be like, why? Why am I doing that so much? Why is my hair not out? Like, I had to start being comfortable with my face without anything because I realized like there was such a distorted image I had of myself because like this was the image that I was told is desirable. So like seeing myself without all of those things on and seeing just like my pure face, not pure, but naked face was quite a time. Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is question yourself, question more, question less. Up to you, really. Up to you.